Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning back in. I, of course, appreciate all the support. It's time for week 3 in the NFL season, and here are my picks for this week. Well, this is a little bit awkward, for someone who claims to know more about sports than you and know it. I've predicted a whopping 16 out of 32 picks correctly. That is good enough for half. That is an F. I do not do Fs. I couldn't possibly do worse, could I? I'm probably dooming myself. Here we go. Tonight's game, Thursday Night Football, is Steelers at the Browns. Pittsburgh has the talent to win games, but they're kind of hindered by their quarterback position right now. And the Browns are facing some injuries on their defense, but Nick Chubb should have enough talent to overcome that and a potential breakout performance from the Steelers offense. Could Pittsburgh hand the reins of the team over to first-round draft pick Kenny Pickett? A loss here makes me think it's probably sooner rather than later. I like the Browns tonight. Oh, and by the way, folks, I know you want score predictions. I've heard enough from you. I'll finally bow down. I like Cleveland tonight by a score of 21-13. Bills at Dolphins. Miami put together a very solid win in week 1 and a come-from-behind win in week 2. Tua Tagovailoa looks very good at quarterback, and with the investment in the offense, so does Miami. But what's the problem with this one? Buffalo look like they could go undefeated. I have no problem saying that. Josh Allen is putting together an MVP-level season after 2 games. It's a battle of the 2-0 division rivals. Potential playoff preview? Me think so. I like the Bills in this one. Give me 42-38 in a high-scoring one. Bengals at Jets. Cincinnati, what happened? You look nothing like the same team that was playing for a Lombardi trophy in February. Somehow the team has made improvements to the offensive line, and they look worse. The Jets used to be an acronym for just end the season, but this year they are flying a little bit higher. I'm afraid they are in for some turbulence this week as the Bengals look to right the ship. I like Cincinnati to win this one on the road, 24-13. Speaking of crashing back to earth, Texans at Bears. Everyone welcome the Bears back to reality after falling to Aaron Rodgers and company last week in Lambeau. I refuse to believe that the Bears are any good, which is rich considering their matchup this week. The Texans don't impress me either. If the weather holds up in Chicago this week, I think the home team wins, but just barely. Yeah, I know that pun wasn't any good. Give me the Bears, 23-13. Raiders at Titans. The Raiders blew a 20-point lead at home against Arizona. Many in the fan base expected a deep playoff run, and now winless through 2 games, have started to call for quarterback Derek Carr's head. Calm down a little bit. Overreaction Monday is a hell of a drug. The Titans are 0-2 as well and look to have taken a step back from their playoff contention years in recent past. After getting drubbed by Buffalo on Monday, will the Titans rise from the depths? It's as close to a must-win game for both teams if they expect to make the postseason. I like Tennessee at home, 27-17 in this one. Chiefs at Colts. Here's the quickest prediction of the week. Which team is undefeated and which team has Pat Mahomes? This one's my lock of the week. No brainer. Kansas City on the road, 38-13. Lions at Vikings. Detroit is scrappy this season. Are they fun to watch? I like them. Dan Campbell has a way of motivating a team to run through a brick wall. I'm sure this team could win the Indy 500 powering their cars like Fred Flintstone if Dan Campbell was the crew chief. And the Vikings have shown 2 faces of their franchise this year. They can score a lot of points, and they can also look like losers the next week. I think Detroit makes Minnesota nervous, makes them sweat a little bit, but the skull rolls on. Give me Minnesota in a close one, 27-24. Ravens at Patriots. The Patriots beat Pittsburgh last week, but still looked uninspired. I wanted more from them week 1. Baltimore takes a tough loss on the chin at home against Miami, who came from behind. Nothing cures a post-loss hangover like beating up on a lesser opponent, and I think the Ravens will roll over the Pats in this one. I got a final score of 35-21. Eagles at Commanders. You know what? Let's just keep this simple, shall we? Jalen Hurts is a terrific quarterback with a terrific roster. He will take down the former Philly quarterback Carson Wentz this week, and with ease. It's always sunny in Philadelphia, but the sun will shine in D.C. as well. Eagles roll in this one, 30-10. Saints at Panthers. Interesting divisional matchup here. We've seen Carolina struggle, but they've started to mesh in some ways. The Saints have struggled as well, but they should be getting their starting running back Alvin Kamara back. What decides this game is Jameis Winston. What version of this quarterback shows up? I think he does just enough to not suck, be average, and I think their defense holds. I like the Saints to win this one, 27-17. Jaguars at Chargers. Justin Herbert. If he plays, the Chargers in a landslide. If he doesn't, well, I still like the Chargers. If LA wants to make the playoffs this year, these are the gimme games that they need to win. Chargers win this one at home, 27-13. Rams at Cardinals. LA almost blew a 28-3 lead to Atlanta last week, which would have been a tremendous piece of irony considering Atlanta's history. Arizona handed the Raiders their worst loss of all time, coming back from a 20-point deficit. I think the Rams will handle the Cardinals in this game, strictly going off of the drubbing the Rams handed out last January in the playoffs. We could be in for a great offensive showcase, so if nothing else, this game will be entertaining. I do like the Rams to win 34-24. The Falcons go to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. I thought the birds were supposed to fly. Both of these teams are struggling to get anything off of the ground this year. Seattle does have a win at home as opposed to Atlanta, who is winless, and it is hard to win up there in the Pacific Northwest at that stadium, so Geno Smith takes the Seahawks to 2-1. Low-scoring game, 17-13 birds. Well, seabirds, that is. Packers at Buccaneers. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. It's the clash between two of the elder statesmen in the NFL. The Packers looked better last week in a win against the Bears, but Rodgers still doesn't look comfortable with his wideouts yet. Tampa struggled last week against New Orleans, which included a tussle involving Mike Evans, Tom's favorite target this season, and now he's suspended for the game. There are some holes in the ship for Tampa, and they're starting to take on water. I like Green Bay to win this one 31-20 on the road. Sunday Night Football, 49ers at Broncos. The Trey Lance era hits a major speed bump last week as he suffered a major injury to his ankle, thus ending his season as he required surgery. For other teams, it's the end of their year. Pack it up, tank, try to get some draft picks. The Niners paid their insurance policy, though, in Jimmy Garoppolo, and looked more than comfortable with him at the helm. Denver has a hard time of scoring touchdowns this year, by the way, which is weird considering their signing of Russell Wilson in the offseason. Many eyes are on the coaching for Denver now, as Nathaniel Hackett is already under the microscope, entering his third game. A week full of practice with Jimmy G and the Niners riding to Denver to steal a win. Give me them with a final score of 27-24. And finally, Monday Night Football, Cowboys at Giants. I'm a little confused on this one. The Cowboys are missing their normal starting quarterback, yet won against the defending AFC champs last week. And the Giants have their normal starting quarterback, but he is decidedly average. And despite that, the G-men are 2-0. You can make the argument that they haven't really played anyone tough yet, but I'd argue that they won't face one this week either. They do face a tough defense because Dallas is the stronger of the two, and I think they can pour water on that hot start in New York. How about them Cowboys? 17-13, they take this one. That's my picks for the week. I hope you guys enjoy the preview. I hope you enjoy the games this Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. And as always, go ahead, like, comment, share, favorite, all that fun stuff. I'm Young Alex from the Armstrong and Getty Show. I know more about sports than you, and I know it. We'll see you guys next week.